Hello there. Welcome to Math 21 Introduction to Statistics. My name is David Haywood, and I'll be your instructor for the course. Um, this is not my usual kind of recording setup. I'm here at home right now, so just kind of trying to make do with what I have at my disposal. But so you might hear my kids in the background, for example. Making noise or whatever. I apologize for that, but I just wanted to come on here and kind of put a face with the name so that you know kind of what I look like, and just welcome you to the course. Let you know that I'm excited to work with you. Excited to guide you through statistics, through your introductory course in statistics. For most of you, this will be your first exposure, I think, to the subject, and that's exciting. I think it's a really good subject. I think it's very, very useful in a variety of fields. In that way, I think statistics is very different from other math classes that you've likely had in the past. And so if you're somebody who has struggled with math in the past, I would just say, maybe reserve judgment on this course, right? Because it's going to be different from anything you've experienced mathematically in the past. But I do think it's very interesting, and I'm excited to lead you through it. What I want to do, I'm not exactly sure how long this will take, but probably around half an hour. So what I want to do over the next half hour or so is just kind of give you a guided tour of Canvas. Since this is a fully online class, we're going to be on Canvas this semester, and we're going to have to learn how to kind of interact online. And so I want to take you through some of the ways that I've set up the course and how you can expect to get feedback from me, and so on and so forth. So without further ado, I'm going to disappear here now and take you over to Canvas, and I'll walk you through some things there. All right, so here we are on Canvas. When you log into Canvas, and click into our course, you'll come to this home page. And what you'll notice is that I've arranged all of the material in the course into these weekly modules. Now, this first module is just full of orientation information. So it's not a typical module. For a good example of what a weekly module would look like, you can look at week 3. Okay? So as you're working through the course, just work through the modules in the order in which the material is presented there, right? So in week 3, for example, you would start off with a graded discussion, right? So at the beginning of every week, we'll have a graded discussion. And those discussions will typically be due on Wednesday evenings. So you'll have access to them starting early Monday morning, and then the discussions will be due by Wednesday evening. Okay. Once you've participated in that discussion every week, then you can get started on the stats material for the week. And I've organized that into lectures and homework assignments. So if you go into one of these lectures, you'll see that there is a recorded lecture for you to watch. And there's also a set of notes that you can download. You can print these or download them so that you can take notes as you watch the video lecture. Okay. So in the spaces provided, you can either, if you've printed this out, then you can write on it by hand, or if you have a tablet, then you could just download it and take notes with your tablet, right, as you are watching the lecture. Now, some of the lectures will also have data sets attached to them, and so you can download these so that you can follow along with whatever we're doing with the data set in Excel. So that's what a lecture will look like. Now, once you've finished a lecture, then you can go over to the next page and you can do a homework assignment attached to that lecture. So these will just be completed in Canvas. There's no, this is using a site called MyOpenMath, but you don't need to create an account and you don't need to pay anything for MyOpenMath. Your account will be automatically generated once you get started working on a homework assignment. So you watch a lecture, then you work on a homework assignment, and then you're on to the next lecture, right? And this is kind of how things will proceed through the course. At the end of a weekly module, there will usually be a problem set for you to work on. And these problem sets, they're short assignments. They only have a few problems on them, but they will be posted as a PDF file, which you can, again, either download and write on with your tablet, or you can print it and work out your solutions in the space provided. So you'll work on these problem sets, and then when you're ready to submit this assignment, when you're finished with it, right, you'll start the assignment, and then you will upload a file, right? And what I want you to do with these is to save them as a single PDF file. So in other words, the assignment might have several pages on it, but I want you to save all of the pages into a single file as a PDF and then upload that. And I have some instructions here on this page to kind of show you how to do that. We'll practice with that a little bit this week to make sure that everybody's able to submit their assignments correctly. These assignments, I'm going to give you some personalized feedback on. So they're very important. It's important that you submit these so that I can see kind of what you may need to correct, what you may need to improve a little bit, and give you that feedback. Your tests will also be posted this way. They'll be posted as PDFs, and then you'll either download those, work them out on a tablet, or print them out and then show your work in the space provided, and then you'll upload a PDF file, and that's how we'll take care of tests in this class. Okay, so that's more or less what a week in the life will look like for this course. A couple other things to say. So we talked about the due date for the graded discussions. Those will be due on Wednesdays. The homework assignments and the weekly problem sets will be due on by Monday of the week after they are assigned. So, for example, homework 1.6, 1.7, 1.8, and the week 3 problem set will all be due on Monday of week 4. Okay, so generally speaking, you'll have a module that'll kind of open up on a Monday, and the assignments for that module will be due the following Monday, with exception to the graded discussion, which is due on Wednesday. If you run into issues with the homework, or just in a lecture, if you come across something that you don't fully understand and you need to ask a question about it, what you can do is come over here to discussions, and I will have a discussion board for each section of material. So let's say you come to section 1.4 and you're not sure how to complete number 7 on homework 1.4. Then you would come to the 1.4 discussion board, look to see if anybody has already posted that question, and if not, go ahead and submit your question here. And then I'll get back to you and answer your question. You can also respond to each other on these discussion boards and kind of help each other out with your questions or concerns. So that's basically what a week looks like. Now, I want to spend a little bit of time talking about how much time you should spend on this course, or how much time you should expect to spend on this course. So just bear with me for a second. We're going to do a little bit of math here. But the general rule of thumb for college courses is that for every hour you spend in class, you should spend 2 hours outside of class studying. So this is why a 12-unit semester is considered a full-time workload for students, because if you're taking 12 units, then you would be spending about 12 hours a week in class, and then another 2 hours per week studying outside of class for every hour you spent in class. So if you're in class 12 hours a week, then you're studying for 24 hours a week. And when you put the 12 hours in class plus the 24 hours outside of class studying, that comes out to 36 hours, right? So that's a full-time workload. What that means for us is that since our course, Intro to Statistics Math 21, is a 4-unit course. So if you spend 4 hours in class
and then 8 hours outside of class studying. That's 12 hours per week. Now, in your case, this is an online course. So you're going to do all 12 of those hours at home, obviously. But that's, I think, a pretty good rule of thumb. You should probably expect to set aside about 12 hours per week to work on this course. Now, looking at this week 3 module, you can kind of get a sense for what that might look like, right? You might spend 15 to 30 minutes on the graded discussion at the beginning of the week, and then you'll spend probably another hour watching lecture 1.6, and then you'll spend another hour or 2 working on homework 1.6, and you'll proceed through the module that way. And so you can see that, yeah, you'll have, maybe somewhere between, 10 and 15 hours of work to do on this module. Now, obviously, if you wait until the night before the work is all due to try to get it all done, that is a recipe for failure. You are going to burn yourself out. You're going to encounter this mountain of work and feel discouraged, and so you probably won't even start. Or if you do manage to convince yourself to get started on it, you probably won't have enough time to finish it all if you're waiting until the night before. But even if by some miracle you wait until the night before and you are able to finish all of the work that you need to do in the module, that's still not a good strategy. It's not a good learning strategy, because you're not going to retain the information as well as you would have if you had spread the work out more evenly across the semester or across the week. And so my advice would be to work on this course a little bit every day. Just plan on spending an hour, 1 to 3 hours per day working on this course. That's going to help you get through the material. It's going to help you to retain the information that you're learning. It's going to help you avoid burning yourself out. It'll help you to, actually dig in and get started on the material, knowing that you don't have to do this whole mountain of work all at one time, right? You can instead kind of spread things out. So again, looking at week 3, if I were looking at this week, I would probably do something like participate on the group discussion on Monday, okay? And then I would watch lecture 1.6 and complete homework 1.6 on Tuesday. I would do 1.7 on Wednesday, 1.8 on Thursday, and then I would work on the weekly problem set on Friday. One of the benefits to doing this is that you'll have time to ask questions that way before your work is due, right? So if you come across a problem in 1.7, I can't figure out how to do number 6, right? Well, then you can post that on the discussion board, and I'll have a chance to respond to you before the 1.7 homework is due. So, if you finish that weekly problem set by Friday, well, then you have the rest of the weekend to work on memorizing key terms, going back and finishing problems that you weren't able to finish on your first pass through, things like that. And you'll have an opportunity to apply the advice that I give to your questions on the discussion boards. So that's my advice to you. Please do not procrastinate. Procrastination is your enemy in this course, especially, probably more so than in just about any other course you've ever taken, right? You really should not procrastinate here. Another thing that I want to say about these lectures. So sometimes students get into bad habits and they think, well, I'm going to skip the lecture because the lecture is 45 minutes long and I don't want to have to listen to Mr. Haywood drone on and on and on for 45 minutes. And I can just look up a quick YouTube video that'll show me how to do this problem that I'm working on and be done with it, right? But I think that's a bad idea for at least 3 reasons, okay? So I'm going to enumerate them for you now. Okay, number 1, watching the lectures is important because rather than just showing you how to do a problem, they'll show you why we care about such problems and how they connect to the bigger picture within the course. If you're just relying on short little YouTube videos to show you how to do the problem, they might be effective at showing you how to do the problem. And I'm not saying you shouldn't look up YouTube videos to help you out. But what they're not going to do is give you the context that you need to understand why those kinds of problems matter and how they connect to the other topics in the course. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, I think that sometimes you end up wasting time. You end up wasting more time by skipping the lecture than you would have spent if you had just watched the lecture in the first place. Let me give you a specific example of this. We're going to cover a concept called the standard deviation in the week 3 lecture, actually, right? Lecture 1.8. If you skip that lecture and you look up a video on YouTube about how to calculate the standard deviation so that you can just skip the lecture and move on to the homework, you're very likely to encounter a video on YouTube that will show you how to do the standard deviation by hand. And so then you'll go through the homework problems and you'll do like 10 standard deviations by hand, and it'll take you several hours to get through that homework assignment. Whereas if you had watched the lecture, then you would have seen that I don't need you to do the standard deviation by hand. You can just use Excel to calculate the standard deviation, and it only takes a couple seconds to get Excel to do it. And then you would have completed the homework 1.8. Instead of it taking you 3 or 4 hours, it would have taken you maybe 30 minutes to complete it. And so at the end of the day, you end up saving yourself time by watching the lectures, okay? So that's reason number 2. Now, reason number 3 is that I'm going to have specific ways that I want you to show your work on certain kinds of problems. If you don't watch the lectures, then you're not going to know how I want you to show your work. And this is important, so please listen, if you do not show the work the way that I expect you to show it on tests, then I'm going to assume that you cheated and you're not going to receive credit for that work. Okay, so that's reason number 3. So please watch the lectures. Watch from beginning to end. At the beginning of each lecture, as I've already noted, you're going to have these notes. Please print them or download them so that you can take notes on them as you're watching the lecture. And just get used to the fact that you're going to have to watch these lectures, right, from beginning to end. But it's very important to me that you do so. Okay. One last thing before we move on and start to talk about the communication policy in the course is just, it might take you a little bit of trial and error at first to figure out what your workflow should be like, right? It might take you a little bit of time to find your rhythm. That's okay, but just take a little bit of time at the beginning of each week, look at the material that's in the course module, and plan out when you're going to get to all of it, right? You may not be able to approach the module in the way that I laid out a few minutes ago, but you do need to give some thought to, like at the beginning of each week, you need to give some thought to when you're going to get your work done. Because if you don't, then chances are you're not going to get your work done, right? So you need to plan things out, take some time, plan things out, figure out when you're going to get your work done, and then stick to your plan, right? But again, a little bit every day will save you in this class rather than trying to get it all in at the end. So that's kind of what I have to say about the weekly format of the course. You can read through this. This basically goes through the same information that I just said, so you can read through that if you want. Moving on to our communication policy. So if you need to get in contact with me, you should understand that for me, the work week is Monday through Thursday, 8 to 5 p.m. The weekend is going to be anytime between 5 p.m. on Thursday and 8 a.m. on Monday. It's important for you to understand those definitions because if you reach out to me during the work week, then you can probably expect a response within 24 hours, okay? But if you reach out to me over the weekend, you might have to wait until Monday afternoon before you receive a response. So if you send me an email on Friday at 12 p.m. at noon, you might have to wait until Monday at noon before I get around to responding to you, okay? So just be aware of that. This is why, again, I encourage you not to procrastinate, so that if you have any issues that you run into, you can send me an email on Tuesday or Wednesday, and I can respond to it in a timely manner, rather than you having to wait a couple days before I respond to you. Now, I'm going to expect you to respond to messages from me within a similar time frame. And so you need to get used to checking Canvas daily and check your email daily as well. Okay. So just get into the habit, right, of every day checking Canvas, checking your email. Now, here's how I plan on contacting you. I may contact you through Canvas messages and announcement. And in fact, I'm going to post a weekly announcement every Monday, unless Monday's a holiday, and then I'll probably post it on Tuesday instead. And then there will be additional announcements as well. As necessary, I might post other announcements on Canvas. So that's how I'll contact you as a class. If I need to contact you individually, then I'll use the Canvas inbox tool. I strongly recommend that you change your Canvas notifications so that you get an email whenever there's new information on Canvas, either a message that I've sent you or a comment that I've made on an assignment that you've submitted or something like this, right? And you can adjust those settings by clicking on Account and then Notifications. So more on that on the next page. So that's how I plan on contacting you. You can contact me by sending me an email through, or by using the inbox feature here on Canvas. Right, that would be the best way to get in contact with me. You can also email me. My email address is I have it somewhere here, davidhay@cos.edu. So you can send me an email there, but I would prefer the Canvas inbox feature. It helps keep things a little bit more organized on my end. Okay. And then you can also use the discussion boards, as I just mentioned a moment ago. If there's a question about the actual course content, rather than emailing me the question, just post it on the appropriate discussion board. That way, the whole class can benefit from your question. In fact, if you email me a question like, hey, Mr. Haywood, how do you do 1.3 number 5? I'm just going to move that question over to the 1.5 discussion board, right, and post it there. And then I'll email you back and say, see my response on the discussion board. But it'll be a lot easier for me if you'll keep your course content related questions to the discussion boards. Finally, we can schedule individual meetings. I have office hours Monday through Thursday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. And my office is in John Muir 231. So you can swing by my office during those times without an appointment, and we can talk about whatever you need to talk about. If you're not available to come by during those times and you still need to schedule a meeting with me, then just send me an email and we'll work out a time to set up a Zoom meeting, and we can meet through Zoom. So that's how communication will work in our course. Let me also say a little bit about feedback on your graded work, right? So you should check the homework assignments that are done through the MyOpenMath thing in Canvas. Those are not going to receive personalized feedback. However, the weekly problem sets, the ones that are PDFs that you show your work on and upload, those will receive personalized feedback from me. And so you should check you should check for that feedback. So first of all, you can check your score on an assignment by clicking on grades, right? So if you go to grades, you can check your score, and you can see your overall grade in the class there as well. But in addition to viewing your scores, you should also check your weekly problem sets. Your tests also will receive individualized feedback from me, okay? And so that feedback will come in one of three ways. I might give feedback to the class broadly, and that would be posted just in an announcement to the entire class. Please read those announcements, okay? In the past, I've had issues with students who don't read them for whatever reason, and sometimes they contain really important information, so please read the announcements. Personalized feedback to you could come in the form of a typed comment on your assignment submission in Canvas, or it could come in the form of a handwritten annotation on the submission itself. Okay, so I have a video here, and I'll let you watch this video to see how you can check for both of those types of feedbacks, number 2 and number 3. This video will show you how you can check for that feedback. Okay. Um, Now, as I said a moment ago, I would strongly encourage you to change your notification settings so that you are um, notified whenever I make a comment on one of your submissions or whenever I send you a message or something like that. And again, you do that by going to account and then notifications, right? So you can change those notifications. And then here's a video also that will walk you through that if you need a little more help figuring out how to change your notifications. Now, if I notice that you're falling behind because you're either missing deadlines pretty regularly, right, for homework and graded discussions and things like that, then what I'll do probably is I'll send you an email. And I'll give you 24 hours to respond to my email. And I may drop you, right? So if you are falling behind consistently, then I might send an email and say, hey, I've noticed that you haven't submitted any work in the last week or two. And so let me know if there's something I can do to help you. If you don't get back to me within 24 hours, I'm going to go ahead and drop you from the course, right? So I might send you a message like that, in which case it's important for you to check your email every day, right? Check your email daily so that you're sure that you're not getting a message like that from me. In addition to that, after weeks 4 and 8, I will post early alerts for any student who has a failing grade in any gradebook category, okay? So that's what you can expect in terms of feedback from me. And again, very important that you check Canvas daily, check your email daily, okay? I'll let you read through the illness policy. Basically, if you get sick, take care of yourself, but try to stay up to date with the coursework anyway. If you absolutely cannot work because you're just so sick that you can't get anything done, then you need to notify me of that before your deadlines pass, okay? I can't extend due dates after the due dates have already passed. So if you're feeling sick, yeah, you got to let me know as soon as possible. Just send me a quick message, and then you'll be back on your feet. Finally, we've got the syllabus. So I'll let you read through the syllabus. This is just a PDF. So it has kind of what the gradebook categories will be, what course materials you need. You won't need to purchase any course materials for this course, by the way. But it has some information about course materials, gradebook categories, drop policies, cheating policies, student resources, things like that. So I'll let you read through that. Let me just point out a couple important things. So you don't have to buy a textbook for the course. We're just going to be using the notes and the lectures. But if you want an additional reference, then you could use this free online textbook. You don't need a calculator. You could get a scientific calculator if you want, but it's not required. You do, however, need a computer. A smartphone will not be sufficient. Okay, a tablet is an improvement over a smartphone, but a tablet is also not sufficient by itself. You're welcome to use smartphones and tablets, but all by themselves, they're not going to be enough for you to succeed in the course. In particular, because we're going to be using Excel to do a lot of our number crunching, and so you'll need a full computer, either a desktop or a laptop, in order to succeed in this course. COS does have some laptops available for free checkout, so you can follow this link and check out a laptop. And of course, you can also use all of the resources at COS on campus. You can go to the library and work there if you don't have a computer at home, but you will need a computer and you'll need full regular access to the internet. As for grading, so these are the gradebook categories. All right, so 10% of your grade will be homework, 5% will be weekly problem sets, 5% discussion boards, and then 20% for each of your tests as well as for your projects. I'll have more to say about the projects at the end of the semester, or as we get closer to the end of the semester. So you don't need to worry about projects just yet, but we'll have plenty of time kind of set aside for working on projects at the end of the semester. Otherwise, I think these gradebook categories are pretty straightforward. Again, I'll let you kind of read through my policies there. I've already kind of talked a little bit. We've touched on the drop policy. Okay, if I notice that you're falling behind, then I'll probably send you an email and say, hey, I noticed that you're falling behind. Get back to me within 24 hours or I'm going to drop you from the course, right? So pay attention to your emails and try to stay up to date on your work. I've also mentioned cheating, right? If I catch you cheating, you're welcome to work with other students on things like homework assignments, right? That's totally fine. But on a test, you cannot work with other students. You cannot work with a tutor. You cannot look up answers online. All of that stuff would be cheating. And if you work out a problem on a test differently than the way I've shown it in the lecture, I'm going to assume that you cheated, right? So I'm going to give you a 0 on that test if I see that you've cheated. And then I'll also report you to the dean. So please don't cheat. Okay, I think that's all I have to say about the syllabus. On this page, there's also a course schedule. So this will show you when we're going to be covering what material and when test dates are and things like that. Okay. Please note that tests can only be rescheduled in the case of an emergency. So the test dates are non-negotiable. You need to make sure that you are available. Set aside time on these days. You need to make sure that you have at least a couple hours to sit down and take your tests on those days. Okay. Now there's no final exam in the course. That's what the projects will be. The projects will be in lieu of a final exam. So again, we'll talk more about the projects later on in the semester. Okay, this page just has links to various student services. Let me just talk about the Math Lab real quick. The Math Lab is free drop-in tutoring. You don't have to have an appointment. It doesn't cost you any money. They're located in the new Educational Support Services building on campus. There are also math labs on the Tulare and Hanford campuses if you're a Tulare or Hanford student. So please make use of the Math Lab. It's a great place for you to just go and study and work on your homework because, even if you don't have any questions, you can just sit down and work on your homework. And then if a question does arise, you can raise your hand and one of the tutors can come by and help you with your stats homework. So I think the Math Lab is a really good resource for you. The Access and Ability Center would be the place for you to go if you have some kind of physical or learning disability, and they can get you set up with whatever resources you need in order to help you succeed in the class. And I'm happy to accommodate with whatever you need. And then finally, the Welcome Center. I think the Welcome Center is a good place to go just kind of for any question that you have. If they can't help you at the Welcome Center, they can direct you to the place where you can get help. So the Welcome Center is a good place to go. By the way, all of these things that I've mentioned, the Math Lab, the Welcome Center, the Access and Ability Center, they do have ways to communicate online, but you can also go to these places in person. The Welcome Center is in the Sequoia building. There's a big orange door on the South Sequoia building, so you can't miss it. And again, they can help you recover your school email and password. They can help you sign up for classes, or they can help you with financial aid. They can help you with all kinds of stuff there. So Welcome Center is a good place. And I think that's just about all I have to say for this orientation. The next page in this orientation module is called Printing/Uploading Assignments. This will show you how I want you to print or download and then work out the problems on the weekly problem sets and then upload them, right? So this just is giving you some instructions on how to do that. A couple things to point out, again, if you have a tablet, this is really easy. You just download the document, write on it with your tablet, save your work, right? And then upload it to Canvas when you're ready to submit the assignment. If you don't have a tablet, then, you'll have to print, okay? You'll have to print the assignment out and then do the work with, pencil and paper. And then you'll need to scan that before you submit it on Canvas. Now, I'm using that word scan, so I want you to take a scan of your homework, not take a picture of your homework, okay? And you can use your phone as a scanner. If you don't have a scanner, you can just download a scanner app like the Adobe Scan app, right? And that'll work just fine. So I'll let you read through those instructions with a little more detail, but let's talk about these 3 assignments that I need you to do. These 3 assignments are all due by Wednesday, by the end of the day on Wednesday. If you do not complete them, you'll be dropped from the class. So you need to complete these assignments by the end of the day Wednesday. Don't procrastinate. They shouldn't take you very long. This first one is this is just a trial run for printing and uploading assignments. And what it consists of is just, it's locked right now. Well, anyway, let me leave the student view so you can see what it would look like. What it consists of is just a document that you will download or print, and then all it is that you need to write your name, your first name on one side of the paper and your last name on the other side of the paper. That's all you need to do, and then you need to upload it, but you need to upload it as a single PDF file, right? So that's kind of the trial run there. So that assignment's due the 14th. Then you'll have an orientation quiz also due by the end of the day on the 14th. And that'll just ask you a few questions about some of the things that we've talked about in this orientation module. And then finally, you have a week 1 graded discussion. And this won't be about any statistics material. It'll just be kind of an icebreaker for you to tell about yourself a little bit. The last thing in this module is a class survey that I would like for you to take. The results are anonymous, and it should only take maybe 15 minutes to complete it, but we're going to be analyzing the results of this class survey. We'll be analyzing the results of this survey later in the semester, so please take it and be honest with your responses, and just know that your responses are anonymous, so nothing to worry about there. Okay. I believe that will do it for the orientation module. Again, I look forward to working with you this semester, and feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. Send me an email, post on the discussion boards, and I think we're going to have a great semester. So I'll check in with you again at a later date. Be looking out for those weekly announcements. Make sure to check Canvas and your email every day. And let's have a great semester.